What's up, everyone, and welcome to another Bitcoin market update. So, today we are looking at the outcome of the trade that we talked about on yesterday's video, and kind of the overall market conditions that we're seeing here are exactly kind of what we were outlining in yesterday's video. We were trading right around 50,944. Now, what we saw was this high, low, higher high, but then we pushed through and traded below with both of these candles and closed below this gray zone. And then when we tested into that gray zone, we had this nice optimal trade that gave us a very good risk reward ratio of 7.78 from an entry price of around 51,703 down to about this previous all-time high, which is right around 42,000. Now, we haven't reached that completely, but since that entry, it was about a 14.5% drop. So that's a pretty nice trade there. And what we're kind of looking at now on the Bitcoin time frame is you're seeing this pretty steep downside from this kind of gradual step up of the bull side. And in the crypto market, we usually stair step our way up and then elevator down. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. And let's talk a little bit about the current setup from the standpoint of Bitcoin and what we're seeing on the high time frames. So let's go to the weekly time frame and start off there. So what we're seeing on the weekly time frame is really this level right here. And this gray zone right here is the level that we are keeping in mind if we're the bulls in this market. This gray zone is from right around 37,800 down to about 28,732. And so from basically the top of these two candles here on the weekly time frame down to here is going to be your main support level if you're on the weekly time frame. Now on the weekly time frame, this candle is not looking very promising for the bulls. The reason for that is because we have this very short upper wick on this weekly candle and a very long body as of right now. We still have 2 days and 3 hours until this candle closes though. But if we do end up closing somewhere, looking kind of like how we're looking right now, we're not going to be in a good position if we are the bulls. I would expect a dip in that case down to the gray level here. And the other thing to note is this bearish divergence that we're seeing here on the weekly RSI with decreasing bull volume, and then now this week a very strong increase in bear selling volume. So that's kind of what I'm seeing there. And if you look at the weekly time frame, you can see that this zone right here, this gray zone, has that high volume. That's going to be your biggest kind of support zone right around in the middle of this area. And so if we go down to let's go to the 3-day time frame, you can see that we have this very bearish 3-day candle here, and then we're starting to go down with this 3-day candle as well that closes in 2 hours and 45 minutes from now. If that ends up closing with the body of the candle down here lower, it's not going to be good news for the bulls. I would expect that if the body closes near the low of the previous 3-day, then we'll have continued downside in the next 3-day candle. But let's go to the daily time frame and look. So there's a couple levels to watch here. First one is this level right here that we're currently operating on. Now this gray level, let's actually turn that blue just for the sake of this conversation. This blue level right here is, we bounced off of it once here, went up, and now we're going into it a second time. Now, we're kind of sweeping the low of this daily candle here from February 23rd. If we end up closing kind of where we are now or even higher, I would anticipate a move at least above this daily block to signify that this was a second valid test of this level. And then a third test through it would almost certainly push us through this level, and we would close down below it. So that's kind of what I'm seeing from the daily time frame is, we might be grabbing some liquidity here, meaning that the whales in the market, the big players, are grabbing some stop losses here before a push above. And then if we get that push above one last time, the whales will be able to fill some more short entries, and then we'll go down for the dip down to the weekly time frame. If we go down to the 12-hour time frame, here's something that is very notable. On the 12-hour time frame, we had this bullish divergence on the RSI with the price making a lower low in comparison to this one, but the RSI making a higher low. And what that signifies is we're seeing that the price is going lower, but there's more bullish strength on this push down. There's less sell volume. You can see that here with the push down as well versus the initial drop that we saw. But this push up on the 12-hour is not very convincing at the current point in time. We have a very long upper wick of people selling into this rise in price. And I will talk briefly about why I took that trade actually and how that trade is panning out currently, that short trade. So you can see that we have this high volume area right around where the price wicked into, and then where it's operating now right below is this zone of resistance that we're dealing with. If we go down to the 8-hour time frame, what we're seeing is we have these levels up here, like this one, for instance, is pretty much the main level that we rejected off of. Now, if we look at this level, this is an 8-hour resistance level. If we look at this level, we initially bounced off of that level once here. Oh no, we didn't on this exchange. Okay, but anyways, we bounced off of it right here, didn't close below it, came up, bounced off of it a second time, didn't close below it, came up, and then closed below it here. And now when we're running into that level, you can see that as soon as we touch the top of that level, we're rejecting off of that. So I entered on the bottom of that block right around 48,423, and now we are in about 4% profit, which is pretty good so far for the 4 or 8 hour time frame. A couple other notable levels to watch. Here's another level here that I am currently watching. Let me just get rid of this so it's easier to see. So you can see this gray level right here, we bounced off it here, bounced off it right here, bounced off it right here, bounced off it right here, and then closed below it. And so that when that happens, when you see 1, 2, 3, 4 tests and then break close below it with 2 consecutive candles, the next push into that level, that should be a pretty strong resistance level. And that's currently what we're seeing right now. And so the thing to keep in mind with this, if you're in Bitcoin or, obviously none of this is financial advice and can be taken as financial advice. This is all for educational purposes only. But, this is a level to watch here. You can see that there's no volume in this area from about, 45.7 down to about 41. So that is going to be the area to watch if we end up closing a candle below this low. That is going to be very significant, in my opinion. And we will most likely see continued downside there. So the reason I actually took profit on this trade already was because if we go down to the lower time frames, let's go to the 2-hour time frame. We can see that we have a level that we actually just printed that the price is currently the bulls. This is the bull, in my opinion, this is the bulls must hold level before we go down. And these previous support levels down here have already been tested here. And so unless, wait, let me see this one. Oh yeah, yep, it's already got tested right here. So that one's, so there's no valid untested support levels besides this one that we're currently on. So if this one we're currently on right now does not hold, which is this black candle right here on the 2-hour time frame, if we don't go above and start trending bullish here with a higher high above this one, in my opinion, this is going to get a little bit messy, and we're probably going to see a drop down to at least the previous all-time high from over here around 42,000. If we pull up the Ichimoku cloud, we can see on the 2-hour time frame, this is about to print the most bearish scenario once this Kijun comes below the cloud and we have a candle that closes with that below the cloud. The candle or the cloud is red, the Tenkin is below the Kijun, and the price is below both of those. If we end up getting this one below it, that's the strongest trend to the downside, and that, in my opinion, would probably take us down to that level, the 42,000 level. Current entries, if you're, a bull, if I'm a bull right now if I'm a bull and I'm looking to make an entry, it's actually right where we are at right now, which is right around this 46,000 level. The reason why I personally would not want to make a bet here with my positions is because on the 8-hour time frame, if you look at the 8-hour time frame, you can see that we have these levels are much more significant, and there's nothing here on the 8-hour time frame. And so there's no support down here on the 8-hour time frame. We're currently on the only support that we have, which is this candle right here, this white one, which held right here, you can see, as well as over here. But if we close below that level, that white candle, which is pretty much the blue level here, that's like I said, that's going to be probably downtown brown action there. So that's kind of what I'm seeing there. 2-hour level is the must hold for the bulls. The bulls, to reverse this trend, are going to have to print a higher low here in comparison to this one, and a higher high above this one. That's what we need to see from the bull side of things. Luckily for the bulls, this black candle goes all the way up here to about 47,282. So if this level holds, we'll go all the way up to here, and that would make this a white candle. And then we would be in business to try and go above here. But in my opinion, it's going to be very difficult for the bulls to get through here on the initial first test. I would imagine that we are going to, over the course of the next few days, if we go to the 8-hour time frame, we're going to have to come down and form a higher low in comparison to this one, and then try and go above and form a higher high above this one. Unless this candle, just miraculously goes up here and goes right through these levels, which would be it would be unlikely in my opinion, but it is possible. But let's see what we get. The Ichimoku cloud is kind of the indicator that we're looking as our guide here, and you can see that we're currently operating below the Kijun, below the Tenkan, and the cloud is still green on the 8-hour time frame. But if you go down, to these lower turn time frames, we're starting to get a little bit more bearish as we go down. 4-hour time frame, cloud's getting a little bit smaller here. If this flips red and the price closes below this cloud, that is going to be a dangerous situation to be in if you are a bull. Good situation to be in if you are a bear. And then if you go to the daily time frame for the Ichimoku cloud, we're in good position. So if you're like longer term time frames, you're still in good position. This is the reason this level, I like this level for push down, is because this is the daily Kijun, which you can see when we hit that down here, we bounced perfectly up twice, and then we went on this nice run up. So if we come down and we hit that level and we start to trend up again, we'll be fine. And that will be, continued bull trend. If we don't go down here and then start to trend bullish again with a lower high, higher low, and then higher high, something like this. Let me get my there we are. So if we come down, then we come up, down, higher low in comparison to this one right here on the Kijun, and then higher high above this one. That would be good. That would be good for the bulls. But what we could see if we close below this daily blue zone is we could end up seeing, we go down into it, we come into it as resistance, and then we come down into the gray level. And the good thing is, if you're a bull, is the weekly time frame has, we haven't touched the weekly time frame Tenkan or Kijun since down here back in September. So a touch of of these two levels would be very, very good. It would be very healthy in terms of bullish continuation. Quarter two typically is pretty bearish for Bitcoin because a lot of people are selling their Bitcoin for tax purposes. So typically when we get around this time, that is something to keep an eye on, and that's kind of what we're seeing here in February. People are starting to do their taxes. They're starting to try and sell some of their profits that they've made on this massive run up on Bitcoin. And so usually you see a drawdown there, and then once we get towards the end of quarter two is usually typically when the market starts going back to wherever the real price should be, given that at that point tax season is over. All right, that's all I got for this one, guys. Keep an eye on the daily time frame for that Kijun bounce there. Also, keep an eye on the 2-hour time frame for the level that we are currently on to hold, or a bullish trend change with a higher high. And that is what I will personally be watching. And I hope to see you guys in the next couple of videos. If you liked what you heard here, give us a like, subscribe to Lutheria for future market updates and some educational content that we put out, that we're going to start putting out, I should say. And I look forward to hearing from you guys soon. All right, have a good weekend.